You ready for this? Who live is us? Who lit is this? Who real is us? We too legit. We are M-A-R-K-T-H-R-U. Mark Thru podcast. Listen and learn. Watch and observe. Challenging us. They got some nerve. He great. You mad? Don't hate. Get to it. Don't wait. We do not hesitate. We doing what it takes. What we do. Mark Thru.
Hi, friend.
See, it's connecting.
Yo,
What up?
good.
Well, how are you, Amber, in general in life?
Tired.
Dude, I feel that.
I feel
Very tired. I think that's like the only describing word currently. I'm very tired, but like I am not tired enough to keep arguing with these people online or trying to like knock some sense into people online. So
Right? And
I
when it's like,
literally,
oh, go ahead.
I feel like I have gotten no sleep in the past week.
I bet.
I'm sure, because just a roller coaster of emotions in regards to everything. And then this is on top of the most chaotic spring, I think, probably of our collective lives in terms of coronavirus and shutdowns and everything like that. You know, whatever. Our baby's growing teeth right now. It's crazy. She doesn't want to sleep.
I'm sad I haven't got to see her.
I
was hoping
know.
to have some type of something, Masters. I was like hoping I would get to see her at Masters, but
Right? Like,
I know.
I mean, today's what, June 9th? Like, we would typically see you in like a week.
Ah,
Like,
That makes me
I
feel-
would normally be at least 6 routines in because I start
Right.
like May 26th or something like that in Alabama.
mhm.
So I would usually be like 6 routines in, headed to do all my. I would have been 2 Masters camps in, I think, so far.
It's crazy. Are you bored?
No,
You're not. You're staying really busy.
I literally very busy.
Yeah.
Lots of hats
Yeah.
to wear.
Because we're all trying to help each other out, and it's just been a lot. Like I did a couple of dances for like different brands.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just said, let's do
I'm
it.
like,
Why not?
I don't really know your style, but
Here's what I got.
I'm gonna learn it. I'm gonna do it, and I heard it was great. So
Like,
there we
you're gonna
are.
perform in front of a crowd or judges. Got that on lock.
Right.
You know,
Listen,
like,
TikTok has helped me a whole lot. I'm like, okay, I'm ready.
I've been loving all of your TikTok dances. Like,
Yeah.
I get a little courageous every once in a while, and I'm like, I'm gonna learn this one. And Scott's like, sit down.
I'm like, keep learning it. Just don't post that. Send that one to drafts.
They're all in my
workout.
drafts. They're all in my drafts. It's so bad.
I booked my first flight today.
Yay!
Yay!
That's awesome. So the
Texas.
world is like, in our little cheer world, at least that's starting to go back to normal.
Mhm.
But the rest of the real
Right.
life world, I guess, is what we're talking about tonight, and
Mhm.
how we can.
Because and that's,
Change.
I think that's part of the ongoing conversation is, you know, as we go back to normal after coronavirus, like, people, just like any big event, people are going to try to go just back to normal and forget about it, whether it's school shootings or the years and years and years of racism that we've already experienced. And so right now the movement, like I mentioned a second ago, has steam, and people are tired, but they're holding on. And I think that that's inspiring, and people are saying, you know, change is happening. I think that's why this is relevant for our platform, and to have you on, Amber, as our friend and somebody who's involved in cheerleading and involved in leading young people regularly. Like you're saying, you've just been ready to get back to it and
Working your butt off to do it.
exactly. And so, you know, we want to thank you for joining us, because, you know, you don't have to get on here and share your beliefs and views and things, but we appreciate that you're willing to do so, so that we can use this platform to educate people.
It's mainly just for me. I know I had a couple conversations with a lot of my Black friends, conversations definitely with a lot of my white friends now, and it's the most important thing is that people are taking the time out to educate themselves, look things up. Like Google's a great source. Like we all have access to it. That's the easiest way to look something up. everybody, I feel like, has a friend they could call or talk to about this, or even if it's your parents, there's so many outlets for people to educate themselves so that they open up their minds, open up their hearts to see like the bigger picture, because a lot of people don't or didn't understand the Black Lives Matter movement, and now they understand it or starting to understand it.
That's
which
huge.
is great. Like I got a text message from so I work at a gym, and I got a text message from our president yesterday morning. It was like at 7 a.m. And she was like, I just want you to know, I've been seeing your post. I have been looking at what you've been putting out in the world. You're always this happy, positive person. So I know you're passionate and I know you're very vocal. And I just want you to know that I've opened up my brain and my mind, and I've started listening to podcasts. And one of the girls that she sent me the podcast she listened to, and it was Dr. Martin Luther King's daughter. That was one of the speakers in the podcast. So it was all these great speakers talking about the movement. And she was like, I am learning so much. And she was like, kind of like, she made it seem like she was disappointed that she didn't do this research prior. Like it took this to do the research. And that's kind of the message that I'm getting from a lot of my Caucasian friends, but it's all good. I can,
better late than never.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I can see the positive in most things now these days. Like back in the day, your girl was not having it, but I'm having to change my mindset up because listen.
But to be fair though, I mean,
right.
that is to be expected if you have any empathy or any compassion in the world, is understanding, especially young people feeling frustrated. You're told by society you can't do this, you're told by your parents don't do this, and I'm sure you've experienced this. Your parents are only telling you don't do this or don't do this to keep you safe. And so just I think people having that empathy and compassion, that's something that I think I've, in my personal research, especially recently, have come to understand, like how do we move forward from this place where we know racism exists? Like, we can all denying it. We can all point fingers, we can all call it out and expose it, but how do we grow from this? How do we, like Lauren said, make it for the next generation, our kids, grandkids? How do we make it better so that when you have kids, you can say, look both ways when you cross the street. You don't have to have additional worries about your kids, because of their skin color. And so, I think that's the biggest step for me is and teaching other people that is just, having that empathy and compassion for understanding the trials and tribulation anybody who is of color has gone through, but specifically people in the Black experience, because it has been honestly traumatic in America for a long time. And it's fascinating.
Well, I know, Lauren, you just said a little bit ago that there's no denying that there's racism, but some people refuse to acknowledge.
That blows my mind.
I'm like,
it's everywhere.
My mind. Yes. And a lot of these girls that I'm going to go into with the females. A lot of the females that I've spoken to that date specifically Black men, it blows my mind the things that come out of their mouth. I'm like, how do you date a Black man but you don't support the Black culture? And so it just like infuriates me to no end. Like, girl, you have no idea the conversations I have gotten into on social media. It's insane to me, people's thought process. But
isn't that racist in itself to say I only date guys of a certain skin color?
Right. And I thought that was very ignorant.
It is very ignorant. It's very like
it's just closed-minded.
Yeah, I've never dated a white guy. I've only had like 5 boyfriends in life anyways. I'm not very good at dating. But
stop.
I think that's just a misconception, just taking the race out of it, just looking at dating. People are like, oh, I date all these people, and it's like 3. It's like by the time you look at the total number of people we've both combined dated before married, it's like maybe 10.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Like, how are you gonna say you have a type? Like,
totally.
Yeah, I like girls with brown hair. Like, what? Like, because 3 of 4 have brown hair. Like, it's just weird just looking at overall just dating.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to dating a white man or marrying a white man. I'm not opposed to any of that. I don't like people equally. So it's not the point whether you're black or white or Asian or alien. Like I just dislike people the same.
Don't.
Exactly. You know, it is what it is. I would.
It annoys me a lot, Amber. I don't know what I don't know what I did. I don't know why this is.
I don't know what you did either. Scotty B annoys me too. London, circa 2000, and what year was that?
12.
12? Yeah.
Dang, that's almost a decade ago.
I know.
Almost a decade ago.
Yikes.
We're old.
For real. Well, on that note, Amber, will you give us some credentials about yourself, before we get going?
I sure will.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you. So let's start back I'm from a small town. I went to school at Middle Tennessee State University, cheered for the all-girl team, and for the scholarship, I did co-ed during basketball season. So I got to do a little bit of both. Yes.
Okay.
I started working in the cheer industry once I graduated.
Yeah.
Did that for a long time. Then I thought I would go into selling uniforms. So I got into polyester pushing is what I like to call it, which is
Slang braids.
Yes, which was a great experience. And then from there, I started coaching college cheerleading. For about 3 years, I was the assistant coach at Bethel University in West Tennessee, so very small college. Then from there, I moved back to Middle Tennessee, and I started coaching at Premier Athletics, and where I, acquired a lot of teams, and I coach a nationally ranked team who I love to death. Go Blaze. And yes, love the Blaze. And then from there, I guess I started diving more into the choreography side of the company. And that's literally my passion. I love that. I've met so many great people through choreography, and it's actually expanded my mind more, and it's actually taught me to learn more about other cultures, other parts of the world, working with different people, their styles, all of that. So
I'm sure the styles is crazy, especially with like game day being involved now, like where you get to see those traditions. And
that's my specialty. I love game day. Love.
You're good at it. You're good at it.
We know a few of your teams, and I will put that stamp of approval. Yes, you're very good at game day. Yeah, and so along that journey of cheerleading as an employee, we all got to interact and go to London. So that was how we met you.
I got to witness you guys get engaged.
Yes.
Yes.
It is crazy. And I remember at camp last year when you were like hugging on my belly and you're like, I can't wait to meet the baby. It was like such a happy week for me, because not only were you there, but so many other friends in our life were there. And it's like, I get to bring a little peanut into this world. We get to do that.
Yep.
And like all of our friends are just like right here. And like, I don't know. It's such a special thing that we've had these friendships for like almost a decade now. And like
over a decade.
Now we're having kids, and like, my kid. It's weird. It's like so weird.
It is weird, but it's a good weird. And I met some of y'all's great friends through choreography.
But yeah, so, we appreciate you being on, Amber. You have a lot of knowledge and a lot of leadership in the cheer world with the teams you coach, the teams you do choreography with, the camps you've worked, all those cleanups and clinics, and literally you have your hand in the teaching of a lot of kids. And so, I think that's a lot of where I would like to take the conversation today. Did you have a chance to look at that tweet thread that I sent in the document?
Yeah, I had to. I couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
It's rough.
It's rough. I don't want to go through them because it's rough, and a lot of it's been unpunished. It feels like a lot of these people are running around and they probably haven't learned that they have been hateful and they've hurt people, and that maybe in some minds that they're too far gone to come back from that, and they're canceled in that regard. And like you said, you couldn't get through it because it was just message after message, and it wasn't to one team or one area. It was pervasive. And so I shared that the other day. It just we can't ignore that in this sport. You know, we talk about cheerleading being positive in schools and being, you know, a force in communities, but when people are doing that on the underbelly, it's all for naught at that point, because people within the sport are being hurt. So, you know, in our role as coaches, I think it'd be good to talk about, you know, if athletes that are on teams that where they see that happen, you know, whether it's a classmate or a teammate, they, you know, they're sharing hateful messages, they're posting the N-word, you know, they're just not caring about other people, and they're only caring about themselves. And so, you know, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I'm sure you've experienced that. You don't have to go into that if it's, you know, if it is a little painful. I don't want to, you know, force you to share too much, but, you know, in thinking about how we can educate.
I mean, I know as an athlete, like I've always been very vocal. Nobody has to ever wonder where they stand with me. I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, my delivery is never really the delivery that people want to hear, but at least my message is across and you don't have to question where I stand. I wish more athletes would, like, I feel like today's generation, which is even crazy to say, because I feel like Gen Z, like they're crazy. Gen Z doesn't care. They are very
They'll
just
eat Tide Pods.
listen, I'm scared of them. So they're scary. So like, it's crazy that their generation is also not very vocal too, in that sense. Like they do a lot of crazy things and a lot of wild things that at our age wouldn't do, but
Right.
it doesn't seem like they're very vocal in doing things like that. But I feel like since everything has happened with the George Floyd situation, I feel like a lot more people are coming out. They're feeling more comfortable, but maybe it's our fault that we haven't let them be or given them a safe space to feel like they're comfortable enough to come out and say things to their coaches or say stuff to their parents. And maybe they can't go to their parents because they don't agree with them, and they want to go to their coaches, but they're not quite sure because maybe they can't relate to their coaches. I don't know where the disconnect is there, but I know I have been in situations where, like, I'll say it as an athlete, I said it, but as a coach, sometimes it's hard for me to pull from those athletes. Now, I do have those kids on teams who are always willing to talk, and like those are my little homies right there.
Yeah, they just spill their guts.
We know it, they always come from they feel like they can come to me because I'm very open with them, because I have a 19-year-old little sister.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know how to talk to this generation. So they come to me and they'll tell me things, and you know, I'm gonna handle it. I'm gonna nip it in the bud. Like, I'm gonna come in at practice with a smile on my face, like, hey guys, how are you? Okay, great. We're gonna warm up. Cool. We warmed up, and then I'm like, okay, we're gonna have a talk. And I would bring them in, and I would like, listen here. And I will change my whole tone, my whole voice, everything. And I'm like, okay, y'all ready? Great, let's warm up. And so I'll put them back on the floor, and we'll do, you know, our little stunt warm up. But I know as a coach, like, I'm going to be vocal immediately. Has that gotten me in trouble in the past? Absolutely. But was I right? Absolutely. Because sometimes the truth hurts, and people are so scared of the truth sometimes, even though it's going to hurt. It's not going to be what
people are afraid to be uncomfortable.
Yes. And I'm not. I never have been afraid to be uncomfortable. I don't know that you guys know, but I am always in trouble for something I say. It's at least once a week.
It's fair.
But can people argue with it? Really? No, because it's factual, and it's
You're speaking the truth.
Yep.
And it's how I feel. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to defame people, or I'm not trying to.
You're not sharing
make
hate.
people look bad, but right. And it is what it is. And I think, in another sense, like, I know I've had managers tell me that they respect me for that, because they're not going to get like a vague answer from me, or I'm not going to sugarcoat it or try to kiss up to them to try to make my way up in the world. Like, I'm going to be a shooter every single time.
Yeah, from all angles. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I know that you have always been a very outspoken person, and I don't think I've ever seen you cross that line. I think you've just always been unapologetically honest.
Mhm.
And I don't see a problem with that. And maybe that's why we've always all stayed friends all these years.
To
Because
circle it back, yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, as a coach, bring them in. I like how you feign like it's a normal practice, nothing's
Oh,
wrong.
yeah.
it's the best.
I mean, I don't even let them get that far. I'm like, nope, you're not warming up. We're all sprinting.
Crazy. They're like, oh, she's smiling. Oh, wait, that's not a real smile.
That's a good tactic. That's a good tactic.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
keep them on their toes. But yeah, fortunately, we have not had to deal with an incident of racism in our coaching experience. Because I hope we don't have to. The kids that we work with, the school that we're at, does share good values, wholesome values, diversity, all the things. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist or that we're not hearing about it.
Right.
And so that's why, like you mentioned, we try to have as open of arms as we can to any athlete. It's open arms, and just trying to allow kids to be able to use cheer as a space where they can be comfortable. And I think that that's why
we try. I mean, we try.
Well, I think and that's why it's important to share that tweet and to expose that hate, as painful as it is, because we can't allow that, because cheerleading is an important and safe space for a lot of people. And just because a few people were raised wrong or are uneducated or have zero empathy doesn't mean that, everyone else's safe space should be, disappeared like that.
Well, you notice too, there's not a lot of Black athletes in cheerleading,
Right.
because it's expensive.
Yes.
It's very expensive.
Totally. Yeah.
My mom had to put 4 girls through cheerleading. She two of them at the same time. My older sister and myself, and she's a single mom. So
Wow.
it was rare for me to be able to cheer, but like my mom made sure I had everything. Grandma made sure I had everything. Outside people made sure I had everything, but some people don't have resources. Like some Black kids don't have those resources.
Totally.
So I've seen people saying like, well, I've given scholarships to Black athletes and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, you only gave that scholarship to that Black athlete because she was phenomenal.
Yeah.
If she was just mediocre, you wouldn't give in that scholarship to that Black athlete. You needed her. It's the only reason why you gave her that money or that scholarship to come and be on your team. Let's be honest.
Totally.
And so that's really frustrating. That's some of the stuff I've been seeing, and I wanted to call it out, but it's like I can't fight every single fight in every single battle.
Yeah.
But
totally.
There's not a lot of Black athletes in cheerleading in general. And I feel like if they were given more resources, then we would have way more. And then so it would also, those Black athletes would be able to educate and help white athletes in, if they don't know their culture. Because I was like, Black people are raised to fit into a white world. White people aren't raised to fit into a Black culture.
Right.
So that's the big struggle I have
slant.
had. Yes, that's the biggest struggle I've had, because I have Black people in my family, I have white people, I have Mexican, our lineage goes back to my grandmother, my great grandmother, and then my great great grandmother is fully white. Like, we don't, white people go not very far in my family. So I know the white people that we came from, some in Virginia, some in Mississippi, my granddad's side, Virginia, my grandmother's side. And my mom found all of this stuff out, which it was kind of cool to figure out our history.
Yeah.
So and listed online, the Black side of his family is listed as other.
Damn.
Other
Really?
family, yes. And so again, we were just raised, the world, America was raised to fit into white world, but nobody else was raised to fit into another culture. And that's not even just, I'm not even just saying African American, that's any other culture.
Yeah,
We are
absolutely.
Culture. And so I was talking to a friend today, and I was like, I'm kind of angry about it. I have a hard time. It's the fact that I am jealous that you didn't have to grow up with the same worries that I had to grow up. You didn't have to fit into white America. When I had to censor myself, I had to watch what I'm doing. I had to look at you guys with this hair that I thought I was supposed to have when I was it just makes me mad. And I felt like I was mad today more than any other day. But this is the better day that I've had in a long time.
Oh,
But
wow.
I'm mad. But I think it's because I went home and I got to see my mom and see my family and talk to them. And my sisters are doing great things in our community.
That's awesome.
In my hometown. Like they're starting a diversity group, getting the mayor, bankers, all kind of people involved. So my little sisters are dope. Again, the 19-year-old, she's Gen Z, she's scary. So it's
Just
that
watch them go. Like,
I'm like, where's Kelsey? But
okay.
it's that type of situation where as a Black woman or a Black coach, I'm like going back and rethinking a lot of things and reliving a lot of things that I have been, like the situations I have been in.
Totally.
And it's like, Amber, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you do anything? Like I was vocal, but I didn't know that there were people I could go to and report certain instances. I had no idea what HR was. Let's just no idea. So,
or that HR would care about something like that. You think HR is just your health care and your dental.
Right. 100%.
Thanks for my paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I feel like all my white friends knew, but I didn't know that. But it's just wild. But I knew, like, coming up through cheer world, I had certain people I would go to, and these people I still talk to this very day. They've been riding for me since 2004, riding for your girl. Like these same people I still talk to every single day. So it's just, now that I'm also having more conversations with my white friends, it's been great to hear their thought processes now. And I know my white friends, like I know the good people when I meet them. And
you do. You do.
Whatever. Yes. Like I know from the jump, like I'm going to judge you from the jump, whether I want to be your friend or not be your friend, whether I want to get to know you or not get to know you. Some people I've judged incorrectly and I apologize for that. I know, like, inside that I had to do better too, and I can't be mad forever. Yes, I am still very mad at the things that are going on, and then the things that should have been talked about a long time ago that are just now being talked about. I wish it didn't take this situation for diversity to be brought up or
absolutely
death after death, and then it's like
going on for over a decade or longer. And so
years
and very frustrating. I'm just mad today more so, but this is one of my better days too. So.
I think you have every right to be mad. Everything you just talked about, from you needed to dress a certain way or whatever it may be. I had no idea that Black women were going through that. So normally on my daily commute to work, I'm listening to some silly pop culture morning talk show. Well, everybody muted themselves for the week, and I couldn't be happier that they did, because then I got to go learn and I got to go research stuff. So that way, when we do get to go back to our athletes, I am now more educated and I know how to serve my athletes better. So that way and you also saying, in cheerleading especially, we have to, we're trying to make Black girls look like white girls. And that's true. Do other coaches care enough to not try to make all these girls fit one mold of what you know? And typically what you know is white girl cheerleading. Mm-hmm. So I just wonder, do other coaches think like that?
And if they don't, now's the time to learn and to start, whether you hear it from here or from your own athletes, whether you're a coach out there listening or, just paying attention to the world. You can't ignore that anymore and just say, this is our team look. Well, your team look only works for 3 of your 20 kids. So get with it, Karen. I don't know what to tell you.
There's been a lot of keyboard Karens on. It's why I deleted my Facebook last week. There's a lot of relationships in our life, and I'm sure in yours, that you're reevaluating right now. And I know we are. But holy crap, I stand behind you and I stand with you so hard, because I can see it. I get it.
Yeah, it's exhausting. I mean, I guess the biggest battle is arguing with people who come back at you from Black Lives Matter. No, all lives matter. And it's like, bruh, I literally cannot wait for the day where I can say all lives matter. But we're not there yet. because Black
No.
lives don't matter. So we can't say the word all. That's inclusive to everyone. And right now, Black lives are being targeted. That's the
Yes.
whole issue. And so we're not, I can't wait until all lives matter is an actual thing. And I can scream that at the top of my lungs, because that means that Black people aren't going through this anymore. Like, we
Agreed.
don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, they're not scared to get pulled over. They're not scared
Right.
to go jogging at night. They're not scared
Right.
to be a registered gun owner. Like
Right.
all of those instances I just mentioned, Philandro Castile,
Mhm.
Tamir Rice, George Floyd, like just all of these instances. I mean, even the ones that don't make the news and that don't cause,
Breonna Taylor, she didn't make the news for 2 months.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. Like, and that whole story is so sad.
Yeah.
So very messed up.
Like, so messed up on so many levels, and it hurts me in such a way.
Have you gone to any of the protests at all, Amber?
No. So when the protest started happening, I was in Memphis celebrating one of my best friend's birthday, and we weren't going out. There was a curfew, so even if we wanted to, like, there was just a lot in a situation. My nephew was in town. There was a lot going on. So I was in Memphis, but I'd heard in my own town where I live that protests were starting, which also tried to cause riots too, because of course there's just certain people
You got to take advantage. Yep.
that were taking advantage and trying to make it look a certain way when that wasn't even the case, which that's another narrative I'm so over.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to go be a part of the protest in my hometown, but I didn't get here in time because I was driving back. I wish I could go to a protest or a march. I know one happened in my hometown. My little sister actually was a part of, both of them were actually a part of it. And they happened in my hometown. Of course, I wasn't there. COVID has also restricted me, and getting back to work has restricted me from doing the things I wanted to do. So I've just been online, very, very vocal. But I know I posted the other day, I don't know if you guys saw it. I had a friend have me over to her house and to help, because she was about to have cheerleading tryouts. She was trying out for my team, my middle school team. So I was going to watch her cheer, watch her dance, watch all that stuff one more time, just to give her some last insight. And a white lady, she was like, before you leave, I need you to talk to my children. They've been asking me questions that as a white mother, I can't answer. She has a white son, 7 years old. She has a mixed daughter that is 12 or 13 years old. She just turned 13 actually 2 weeks ago. And then she has another white daughter. And then her white friend was over. So they set me down and asked me a bunch of hard questions. And I'm like, it blew my mind that these kids understand what's going on. The little white boy was like, I don't want people to hate my sister because she's brown. And I was just like,
I don't want that either, man.
And it's crazy that he understands that hate exists, and that's so heartbreaking.
Yep. And I was just like, I need you to make me a promise that you are going to educate your friends. And so it's his sister wasn't there. She was at a baseball game. So she came home and she was like, what did y'all talk about? Did y'all ask all the questions, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yes. And she told me that all Black lives matter and all lives can't matter until Black lives matter too. And he said, it's like having a baseball team. If you have 8 players, it's not complete. You have to have that one extra, the one you really need. And so until that team is complete, we can't play. And so that's how he correlated that. And I was just like, oh, thank God. I literally was like panicking because I haven't had a conversation with a child. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's cool that she invited me over and she wanted me to sit down, and she even had questions that she wanted to ask as well, because as having a mixed daughter, like, she's gone through things with white girls and Black girls being mean to her because of her skin tone, or because of the way her hair looks, or because of the way she talks, and blah, blah, blah. It's just ridiculous what parents are teaching their children.
Yeah.
She's already experienced some of that. And the whole, like you said, I don't see color. I hate that. Like, I see color. When I'm going to describe Scotty B, I'm going to be like, yeah, Scotty B, the boy with the beard and, all the dark hair, he's married to Lauren, white girl, long hair, cute baby. Like, that's how I'm going to describe you guys.
Totally.
Those are all adjectives of, so,
and they shouldn't be offensive as long as you're talking about
It's just
them
descriptive.
in descriptive, semi-positive. You don't have to be, their glowing hair, Amber has her glowing caramel skin. Like Amber has brown skin. She's over there with the dark hair. Sometimes she's wearing glasses. Go over there and say hey to her. Like that's how I would describe to a kid at a camp,
Yo, that's me.
right? And you're
Absolutely.
like, did that guy with the beard send you over here? The one with the big nose, that guy? All right, cool. And it's because you're not talking down about me. You're describing me.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. So I just had them look at their skin tone and tell me what color they think they are. And it was a good moment because I was like, y'all, it's like the mixed girl. I was like, it's okay to say I'm a brown girl. That's okay. You are a brown girl. You're not tan. You're not light skin, which I use that term too, but more in a joking way, which I should probably be more cautious about that as well. But I'm like,
I feel like that's not offensive either, though. But is it? Maybe I'm not educated there.
I don't think it's offensive, but sometimes that my darker skin friends may find that offensive, and I need to be aware of that.
Okay.
100%. Yeah,
because I learned something new.
Right. 100%. But then again, it just kind of depends on the context or what you're saying.
Sure.
If you're how your relationship is, how you're coming across. Like there's so many things that go into it because being oppressed as a Black person is just in the history books. Like anything can come off as racist.
Yeah.
White people haven't had to deal with that. So that's a whole other conversation, but
absolutely.
But it's the truth though.
It is the truth.
That's part of the uncomfortableness that I think we all have to face as a society, as a very white slanted society. We have to be uncomfortable, admitting it, looking at it and saying, this is unjust. This is not fair to a large set of our community, a large set of our culture, our society, of our fellow humans. And we have to make some corrections in this world. And, the past 2 weeks, I think have been a good start.
I've learned so much.
It's a bummer that this good start didn't, continue from the 2015 Black Lives Matter movement. It kind of fell off, and then it picked back up again at the unfortunate murder of George Floyd, as well as Breonna Taylor and others. So,
and now that I do see it, I want to be so freaking loud about it because I don't want my daughter turning out to be an asshole. I want her to be a good person, and I want her to educate all her friends around her how to be good people.
Right. See, and so you're already starting in the right direction. So like parents like you or people like you that have a child that hasn't been influenced yet, like this is good. Like these conversations are happening and people are opening up their eyes because I feel like our generation is kind of the last generation of where like racism was kind of taught like heavy because, these laws of segregation weren't that long ago.
No.
So I feel like we're kind of in that last generation of like heavy racism. So our generation is going to be the one that starts changing the minds of the younger generation because we're all starting to have babies. Well, some of us, I ain't having no baby, but we're starting to have babies and such.
No, so but
it's up to us, and it's really up to the white people to be vocal. Like it's your turn. It is your turn to be vocal and have your voice be heard loud and proud for the Black community, especially the ones that are woke and the ones that are understand that we need you guys to now lead this movement. That's the only way we're going to get change in America, I feel like, is if our white people take a stance and say, hey, this is wrong. We're not doing this anymore. We're not teaching this anymore. This will not be tolerated.
We're not allowing it. No,
It's completely unacceptable. I'm going to work. I'm having people come in saying they're tired of the negativity. They are tired of being kept up at home. They're tired of riots happening now. They're tired of this. They're tired of that. And it takes every piece of me to just say, you don't think my Black friends have been tired their entire life? Mm-hmm. You don't think like oh, just and so I've grown patience this week, like not actual patience, but like I've grown a patience within myself of like, okay, how do I word this to maybe flip the switch for them? Most of my patients that are older than me, that's not going to happen. And I know that. But the patients that are maybe a little younger than me or my age, and they only are going off of what their parents have maybe said to them, I can maybe plant that seed.
It's like, because I mean, Black people, we've been fighting our whole lives. You know what I'm saying? Like we've been fighting from day one, and so we're always going to speak out and be vocal and start movements. Will that get swept under the rug and not be taught in history class? Absolutely not. Or it's not going to be taught. It's those things aren't going to be mentioned because it's too positive.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't tell the narrative of the struggle, you know. So yeah, like you said, you know, you can Google it. Kids, this generation, our generation is part of that last round. I think because we're part of this internet generation, you know, we can go look stuff up with a couple taps on our phone.
It's all there.
We can gain that knowledge. We have access to media where we can see and hear and view people, you know, and their experiences, whether it's traumatic experiences like, you know, police brutality, but also historically, you know, in terms of like Madam C.J. Walker, like that wonderful Netflix show, story, you know, telling the evolution of her business and the struggles that she had to find success, to, you know, the documentaries and everything like that. It's just, our generation has so much at our reach that I think that, you know, as generations evolve, it should only get better as long as we keep up with, you know, making sure that everyone is educated. And there are specific struggles that have been made to, you know, inflict pain, stop Black people from doing things, and you know, those are the things that we have to end as a society before change can happen, before you, my friend, can feel safer, you know, in this world. And, you know, hopefully our kids get to experience that.
It's just it's rough out here. And I know, like, another thing that I've had to fight as a Black woman is, since I'm so vocal, if I'm too vocal, I'm the angry Black girl. And I'm like, yeah, I'm angry. I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I am angry. And I want you to feel that. I am very angry. I don't.
The part of it that's, I would say, the part of it that's frustrating for you is you sharing an opinion and people jumping to that assumption. And you're like, no, just because I'm showing disdain or some unhappiness or a disagreement with something doesn't mean that I'm instantly angry. Like, don't throw that entire book at you.
Yeah, Black girls are always angry. It's like, no, we're not always angry, but you're about to make me. And you don't want that side, for sure. I can give some verbal lashings. I've had.
You're like, regardless of my color, I am angry. Stop being an idiot. Yeah.
Yes, stop being an idiot is the right phrase for sure. So
a lot of idiots in the world that we got to educate.
A lot of keyboard Karens. I cannot with Facebook right now. I can't.
That's what keeps me up all day.
You said you haven't been sleeping. Is that?
Yeah. Well, one day when I came back from Memphis, we went to brunch on Sunday. Yes, we went to brunch on Sunday at like 11:30. I didn't eat again till the next day or till the next night. It was like 8:30 p.m. And I was so distraught and bothered by everything going on. Like I think I've lost like 4 or 5 pounds. As soon as I walked in my mama's house, she was like, you lost weight. She went in the kitchen. She was cooking up greens.
I saw you. She sent you home with all sorts of food. And it's like classic mom, just like, you need this? Well, hey, they sell those. Buy me. Right. Well, here, I got you some. I got you some. And I'm like,
packed me greens, cookies, a bag of potatoes, like a bunch of potatoes. I'm like, Mom.
She's like, you need starches, you need some potatoes. Your butt's looking a little tiny. I'm gonna give you some more of that. Is your waist smaller?
She got me a gallon of sweet tea. I was like, Lord, child, my mama can't.
She loves you. She loves you, and she cares about you. And she
sees that I'm stressed and I've been, fighting the good fight, But it's worth it. It's totally worth it. Like, I'll stay up and not eat in order to try to sway at least one person. If I can reach one person, I will stay up countless nights, countless hours, and I will voice and speak and talk and have conversations as long as I need to until I am blue in the face.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fight the good fight. So
Good for
because
you.
you understand that you're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for
100%.
your sisters. You're fighting
Mhm.
for your mom, the rest of your family. You know, any of your athletes. You know, so it's important to you, and I think that's why, you know, Black Lives Matter is important to us as well. It's our friends, it's our athletes, it's, you know, our coworkers, it's everybody.
Seeing Blake's TikTok where he cries at the end messed me up, dude. Like,
yeah.
I know y'all are hurting, and I don't want to sit here and be like, I'm just gonna text all of my Black friends and just tell them I love them, because part of me is like, they know I love them.
100%.
But that just struck such a chord with me of like, I'm gonna do better. I am going to do better for them, because I'm tired of seeing my friends upset.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and speak for a lot of people, I'm sure, that might be feeling this way, but I know personally I appreciate my white friends like you. Like, I've never felt uncomfortable or that I couldn't be myself around you two ever. And I do have those white friends. I 100% have those, but then I do have other friends who, like you said, I'm questioning a lot of scenarios and a lot of situations. Like, I've had some white friends not even acknowledge it, and they're supposed to be like the homies. Yeah, y'all have always had good vibes. Like, that's what I'm saying. I was taught to judge somebody by characteristics and the energy and vibe they give off, and you two have always made me feel very comfortable. 100%.
I'm gonna cry. Don't say that. Earlier you had said like you're gonna study someone's character before you get to know them and stuff. I remember when we were in London and our groups were together, we were best buddies, and I remember being so intimidated because you were just this beautiful, strong personality. Like, you had your ish together. Like, you were taking these kids, like, you know where you were going every single day in London. You were like, we're going to do this. I'm going to roll up. We're going to go out. Like, like, you just had it so together. And I was like, wow. Like, I totally see
Lauren's
why she's
like,
on this trip.
help me not lose one of these kids in Europe.
Like,
please.
freaking out.
And I'm like, I'm going to go take pictures.
Amber, help me. I lost one. This one went shopping with her mom. We can't have cell phones over here. I don't know what to do. So I just remember being so in awe of you. So I know it took a while for you and I to maybe get friendly. I think it took like our first practice, and then we were like, okay, we're all friends. This is good. But I remember those first couple days being really intimidated because you were so good at your job. Not because of anything else, but truly just because you were so good at your job. And I was like, okay, 6, she's Tennessee staff. I'm now on Tennessee staff. I feel much better, you know? Yeah. So it was just cool. And I remember that first impression of you like it was yesterday.
Same.
And that was almost 10 years ago.
And that sweaty lobby of that hotel room was like 1,000 people at once.
And then the Starbucks line, like wrapping around and around and around.
Yes.
Like, y'all are not getting Starbucks. Just give it up.
Yes. And the girl forgot her headband. And then I had to give her my and Scotty B had his little joke, bands to make her dance. And I was so mad, but I was so proud of him for that. Like, that was the best one-liner ever.
I forgot about that.
I had a whole attitude about it because I was cold.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that to a T too. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if people make a good impression or a personable impression, like, I'm gonna remember things. If I don't mess with you, then it's a wrap. Like, I truly will not. You will know. I will tell you.
Yeah.
100%. Like, hey, I'm just not. You're not my type of person.
Well, and oftentimes I'm sure you found that to be true. You see them post something later, share something, act a certain way, and you know, it might not even be from the angle of racism. It could be homophobia, it could be, you know, different areas, but you know, it confirms that internal, you know, dialogue with yourself that you had, whether it was a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. You're like, that person, I knew it.
Yeah, because there's people in this cheer world that I still do not feel comfortable being around. And I mean, I let that be known 100%, especially recently.
Good.
You know, I've had incidents literally last week where I voiced my opinion about some people that I've worked with in the past, and they have never made me feel comfortable in my own skin. And I will never forget that or forgive that. Like I can't at this point because I'm still seeing the same verbiage and activity from these people,
Yeah,
and it's
they
just
haven't changed. Yeah.
no at all, at all. And so it's like it's like a relationship that can't be repaired, especially now that I've seen more things happen, especially now. And it's like years later, I'm
Mhm.
still seeing the same behavior. We have all grown up,
Yeah.
but you have not grown up mentally. It's so sad. And
I
I
don't
don't want to deal with it.
I don't
Not
understand
with
how
it.
you can't be growing through all this and like becoming a better person. Like I'm telling you, the podcasts I've listened to this week have been like so eye-opening for me, and it's so easy. I just drive to work, I press play, and I'm learning. I'm so hungry to learn more and more. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe people aren't hungry
Yeah, their
to
ego.
help fix
Their ego gets in their way. They think they know it all. They have the right view,
I don't get it.
and so we have to educate. We have
Yeah.
to teach
Right.
others how to have compassion, teach others how to have empathy. Just like the story of talking to that little boy. He's like, I don't want people to not like my sister because she's got darker skin. And it's like that is the understanding. It's like even if you do have to translate it down onto a kindergarten level, it's
Mhm.
like that's the pain that he feels just having a hypothetical about his sister is pain that you have felt, that that hatefulness just cannot continue any longer.
It has to stop.
And so people have to understand how hurtful it is, and hopefully this can contribute. Podcasts, books. I know we were looking at books for our kiddo.
I just posted a bunch on Instagram. I have there's a lot of really cool books about your skin color and why it's okay to be different, but why we're all still the same on the inside. And what a freaking concept.
Another good book I just read for our we have a little explorers program. I just read a book called The Crayon Box That Talks. And it talks about all the different crayons. And I literally have the book up there. It talks about all the colors of the crayon, how they didn't like each other at first. And then they colored a picture of like the world where you needed blue for the sky, green for the grass, brown for the tree, and white for the clouds. The Crayon Box That Talked. And so it's a great message at the end, and they all come together, and it's like, well, I like you now, blue, and blue likes red, and red likes green, and green likes orange, and it's the cutest story with the best message. And I literally just read that book 2 weeks ago. I have to send you my book reading. It's kind of funny though. But
I love it. I added it to the list.
My country accent comes out major. My grandma would literally roll over in her grave if I was like, "Hi, friends," and I'm like, "Oh, God, that was so hard." She would be just so disappointed, but
that is so funny.
It's crazy that all this happened afterwards because I was one of the last book readings, and the book was just so good. It literally explains this whole situation. Maybe I should post it online, reread it.
You absolutely should, because I do think there's a lot of people our age that are just now starting to have kids, or not having kids, but have like a lot of nieces and nephews, or whatever it may be. I think I've learned that I do have a voice in this. I think all last week I was feeling like I need to mute myself, like I don't have a dog in this race. But I was hurting so bad for my friends. I was like, no, this is how I can help. Because in my mind before, I was like, I guess all I can do is donate, sign petitions, and vote. But now I feel like I'm starting to figure out there's a lot of people that just check on my stuff. And if I just have that out there of like, this is what I'm going to do so my kid's not an asshole, maybe you can do the same.
Exactly.
Or maybe you as a grown adult can read this child book and have a little more understanding about person-to-person relationships and values that we should have, to have a functioning world. Yeah, so we'll link. We're gonna link a bunch of stuff that we've talked about that when we talked here, and then when we talked to DQ and Gigi yesterday, they were talking about some I know, right? We talked to them for 2 hours yesterday, and then our kids got to play the whole time in the basement. And so now they're just like buddies. They were like chasing each other around when we came downstairs. We're like, this is why we're doing the podcast.
And they're such loving people. So after talking to those two yesterday, I know Gigi had kind of shared that like she was angry and she like kind of had a hard time saying that. And I said, it's okay that you're angry. People are dying. We should all be angry. And so she was like, yeah, but she was like, now she's turned more onto the educational side and like a loving side.
Another person that I've literally enjoyed following so much is Sarah Habit. She's been like a ride or die. I spoke to her today a little bit.
I love her.
Dylan Tobin has been freaking phenomenal. Like there's just some people that are just like catching my eye on the things that they're saying, and they're, you know, coming on other people's posts, or they're posting podcast, like just all these things, and I'm like, that's my homies right there. Like
I love it. I love it.
Hands all in together.
Yeah.
Yes, all hands on deck. Let's do this. Let's change the world. Let's be a big voice. Let's help other people understand. Like I am more than willing to stop in my day and have a conversation with people, and that's what I've been doing. I will come to your house. That's cool.
Leading to a final note, my laptop's dying on us. But
Oh boy.
you know, having the ability to have conversations and to being able to accept that other people have accepted new knowledge, you know, they may have been hateful, mean, disgusting, gross in the past, doesn't mean that we, you know, wipe their slate clean and we're like, you said sorry, racism's gone. You know, it's not one of those situations, but you know, we have to educate them and show them, you know, you did wrong, you need to pay for the wrong, and then you need to come back from this and do right by other people so that, you know, to make up for your wrong, I think. And so it's a fickle line because we live in a world of cancel culture where some people, rightfully so, need to be canceled, and other people just need some education and time to learn about themselves and to, more importantly, learn about other people. So as we continue the fight and the movement of, you know, making sure that the world is aware, that is learning that Black lives do matter, and that we need to ensure that Black lives matter in our government and our public safety and schools and everything like that, in cheerleading, you know, we have to keep educating and keep having that compassion and empathy on both sides. I say that delicately because I don't have much empathy for racists, but if a racist wants to say that they were wrong in the past and wants to actually learn and actually engage and fix their wrongs, I think we should all be open to that. It's just more rare. And so it's tough to do, and it's tough to swallow. I'm sure you've dealt with that, but
I'm proud of you for speaking up, Amber.
Yeah.
I think you're doing incredible.
We got
Thank
you back.
you. I always have to tiptoe on everything I say, child. I'm always being watched. So thank you.
Somebody's got an automatic text to tip on Amber.
I'm always gonna be vocal. I'll be in trouble, but it is what it is. And last thing I want to say too is thank you guys for having me. And like I really appreciate you giving me your platform to speak about the things that are going on. And I just hope that this is not just the trend, because we can really get wrapped up in trends.
Right.
Absolutely.
I hope this is a continued conversation within industries, households, friendships, just everything. Like this needs to be a continued conversation and doesn't just die down within the next couple of months, and then we're on to the next trend.
Yeah, when the new uniforms come out, or you know, whatever it is, we can't get distracted from making the sport world society better.
Agreed. But thank you for talking to us. We miss you. Like,
I know, I miss you guys.
Podcast aside, I freaking miss your face so much.
I need to make my way up there. I got plenty of miles of Southwest, so I'll be making some trips.
Well, and let us know if you're coming out to work with any of the teams. Like, call us. Let's like hang out, or you can even stay at our house. You don't. You can keep that hotel money, and you can just stay with us if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make y'all buffalo chicken dip.
Deal.
Fire. Just so you know.
That's like a food group to me, though.
Dips are a food group to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, we'll let you go, Amber. We appreciate
Alright.
you spending some time with us, and yeah, I'll send you a link soon.
Yes.
To the episode. So thank you for joining us on the Mark Thru, and sharing your experiences and thoughts and you know your time with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of
Appreciate
course.
it. Love you
Love
guys.
ya.
Love you,
Bye.
Amber. Bye.
Bye.
You ready for this? Who live is us? Who lit is this? Who real is us? We too legit. We are M-A-R-K-T-H-R-U. Mark Thru Podcast. Listen and learn. Watch and observe. Challenging us. They got some nerve. He great. You mad? Don't hate. Get to it. Don't wait. We do not hesitate. We doing what it takes. What we do. Mark Thru.